Hey y'all, got on my lawyer hat, so you know we're going to talk about lawyer things. You know I had to figure out what happened with Texas Tech and that lawsuit with the Big 12 and how that just put the kibosh on everything. First of all, just to catch you up, you may recall over the last week, Texas Tech has been chest pounding ever since Brendan Sorsby successfully won that preliminary injunction that allowed him to play in football season for the 2026 football season. And sometimes, you just got to learn to be quiet. And they did not. And that was probably what brought them down. Anyway, let me tell you what happened. So last Sunday night, it was the 14th, Brendan Sorsby met with all of the Texas Tech University leadership. Not all, but most. The president, the athletic director, the chair of the board of regents, that's Cody Campbell, and the head football coach, among other people, to discuss this situation of their own making. Okay, so they apparently had a 3-hour conversation, according to the reporting in The Atlantic, and they decided before they would decision make, they would sleep on it, and they would wake up in the morning and decide what to do on Monday. And before they could wake up on Monday, the Big 12 had played chess with them and have filed a lawsuit, brought the hammer down, bam, hard, okay? So after the lawsuit, Texas Tech finally decided they needed to move on from Sorsby and he needed to declare for the supplemental draft. So after Texas Tech leadership, outside of any conversation with Sorsby, decided amongst themselves that they were done here, they sent the head coach to talk to Sorsby and his family. And apparently it got hot up in there, as you might imagine. Okay, so essentially, though, because Texas Tech held all the cards here, once they decided they were done, it was over. Sorsby didn't have a choice because if they decided they were not going to let him play, it didn't matter what the court said. Okay? Literally did not matter. Okay, because the ruling said the NCAA could not stop Sorsby from playing. It did not say that Texas Tech couldn't, and it didn't say that the Big 12 couldn't. That was important. Okay, so the question is, what was in that lawsuit that made them back down between the time they went to sleep on Sunday and the time they woke up on Monday? So much so that they throw in the towel. Well, the complaint was fire. Okay, so let me just give you some key facts that they ran down in the complaint. Okay, first, Texas Tech itself considers gambling grounds for expulsion. I'm about to give you a whole bunch of facts. It's just two-faced. It's like, I just cannot believe I'm hearing this. So Texas Tech themselves says, if you gamble as a student, you can be put on probation or you can be expelled. It's Texas Tech rules. The state of Texas. Gambling is illegal in the state of Texas. What's the attorney general getting involved for if it's just illegal? All right. Now, those two things, now we know. Sorsby bet 40 times on his own team and individual teammates while at Indiana. He also bet at least 50 times on Indiana basketball games and basketball players, and at least 300 other times on other college contests, including the time that he was at Texas Tech. Okay, so it kept on going from Indiana to Texas Tech. Okay, now the Big 12 bylaws were unanimously amended in 2025, and Texas Tech was part of the group that amended the bylaws. Now, the bylaws say many things, including that the conference has the authority to sanction its members, and this authority is well established. And not only is this authority well established, Texas Tech had agreed to implement these sanctions. So back in 2016, Baylor got into some mess with some craziness, okay? And the same bylaw that Texas Tech and Texas Attorney General said that could not be applied against Texas Tech was the very bylaw that they used to sanction Baylor. And they sanctioned Baylor 25% of their athletic revenues. Okay, I don't have that fact quite right, but 25% was the number. Now, Texas Tech agreed unanimously, okay, to put this sanction on Baylor with every other school in the Big 12. Okay? Now, it's just crazy that Texas Tech and the Texas Attorney General, now for clarity, the Attorney General is the one that has to bring the lawsuit on behalf of Texas Tech. Okay? That is their ultimate lawyer. Okay? So, but it's crazy that Texas Tech agreed, says gambling is illegal on campus. Texas says gambling is illegal in the state. Texas Tech says if you do wrong under Big 12 bylaws, I'm going to agree to sanction you like we did Baylor. And then they get down to this situation and just contradict themselves on their own conduct. Okay, so they had established they were prepared to go along with the sanctions, and then they're like, nah, sanctions are impermissible. That's an antitrust violation. All right. Anyway, so that's crazy. Now, additionally, the conference adopted a sports betting policy in 2023 that Texas Tech agreed with. Okay. And so after all of that, knowing all of that is backstory, why in the world would they say that they were going to play this young man? According to their own rules, he could be expelled from campus, from being a student at Texas Tech. But not only are they not going to expel him, they are going to elevate him. And all right. Anyway, okay. So the Big 12 was considering a monetary fine or or a ban on Texas Tech playing the championship game. Now, even with all that I just told you, they might have gotten away with it if they had just kept quiet. But they chest thumping here. And when the Texas Attorney General sent that letter, that was the kiss of death. Because he sent that letter saying, you can't do this against Texas Tech for antitrust and a whole bunch of other reasons. Then the Oklahoma Attorney General, the Kansas Attorney General, the Utah Attorney General all sent letters to the Big 12 saying, oh, yes, you can. And we think you should sanction Texas Tech if they play this athlete. Okay. So the Big 12 used the Texas Attorney General's letter as the basis for their argument. And so the Big 12 raised claims on First Amendment grounds, the Sherman Act, which is antitrust, and Commerce Clause, interstate commerce, selling stuff back and forth across state lines, and the Big 12 bylaws. Okay? And so when you read the lawsuit, I was like, the lawsuit broke them. It just broke them. So, as it turns out, Texas Tech says, we're done, Mr. Sorsby. They say, we're going to let you keep the money that we had paid you. And apparently that has been roughly $1 million of the somewhere between $4 and $5 million that he was supposed to earn with his one season at Texas Tech. According to his agent, he has more than $1 million in legal fees. Now, we all know that $1 million top line still got to have taxes paid. And Brendan Sorsby don't have $1 million to pay legal fees if he got paid $1 million. Okay. And in addition to that, the University of Cincinnati lawsuit is still outstanding. Maybe it'll get dismissed since he's no longer a student athlete at Texas Tech. Okay. He could be facing criminal charges. And this young man has less than 30 days of clean time. He has such a difficult road ahead day by day that this playing thing, though it might have been good for Texas Tech, it was not going to be good for him. I know the money would have been good for him, but the whole playing thing and all the pressure he would have been under would have been devastating to his recovery. In any event, we wish him well. I just know it'll be a long time before we forget how two-faced that Texas Tech was on this matter, given everything we know about their institution and their state and their rules on gambling. It'll be a minute. The Big 12 is going to have some interesting conversations when they let the black sheep walk up in there. Everybody looking side-eyed at them like, we don't know what you thought you were doing, but you weren't doing it here. Anyway, I just want to remind us all that football is a game, right? Anyway, as always, let me know what you think.